Y'all ready? This meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees was previously called to order. We have a presence of a quorum, and the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. Thanks, y'all, for coming out tonight. As always, we will start this meeting with a prayer and the pledge. Mr. Bergfeld, it is your turn.
Yes, everybody could please stand. Father, on behalf of our students, teachers, families, and schools, we ask that you would be glorified, that you would be exalted over our schools and over everyone that would seek to influence and infiltrate our education system with the purpose to deceive and destroy the next generation. We ask you to bless this board with wisdom and courage to stand up for the obvious, not be intimidated by cancel culture, and to be brave in the protection of our students' minds and bodies. Thank you, Lord, for the godly men and women you have placed in TISD and for their commitment to your values. We stand with them in preparing the next generation of leaders. Please help TISD be unique in the pursuit of glorifying you in everything we say and do. I pray this in my Savior, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bergfeld.
You're welcome.
We do not have any action coming out of executive session, but we do have some special recognitions.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Crawford. We want to begin the special recognition portion of our meeting by announcing our May District Students of the Month. Uretzi Reese, a 5th grade student at Austin Elementary School, is our Elementary Student of the Month, and Addison Storms, a 7th grade student at Moore MST Magnet, is our Secondary Student of the Month. Please join us in watching a video about these two outstanding students. Throughout the year, we see successful student outcomes happening all around us, whether in the classroom, on the court, on the field, or across the stage. We celebrate these successes. This is our school district, and these are our students of the month. As we wrap up this year's recognitions, let's meet our final Elementary Student of the Month for 2023.
Hi, my name is Uretzi Ruiz, and I'm the Tyler ISD District Student of the Month for May.
Uretzi is a 5th grader at TJ Austin Elementary. She sets an example at her campus by consistently going above and beyond to help others, as well as accomplishing goals she sets for herself. One of the things that Uretzi is most proud of is being a Lobo leader.
What it takes to be a great Lobo leader is to synergize and to be friendly and to sharpen the saw.
As an Austin Lobo since Head Start, Uretzi has served on TJ Austin's Student Council and has volunteered with her mom in the community. Her 5th grade math teacher, Mr. Soto, had this to say.
Definitely, Uretzi is a great role model for our students. She will try to help, great helper as well. She will help her classmates as much as she can. And if she doesn't understand, she's not afraid to ask for questions and clarifications. So that is something that really describes her character, and she really enjoys doing as a student.
Now let's take a look at our District Secondary Student of the Month, Addison Storms.
Hi, my name is Addison Storms, and I am the District Secondary Student of the Month for May.
Addison is a 7th grader at Moore MST Magnet. She is actively involved in a number of extracurriculars while taking all honors courses and is ranked #1 in her class. How does she do it?
I have a schedule, and so I rigorously planned and made sure that everything went the way it was supposed to, and that made sure that I knew the dates of everything so that I could plan for those days.
Addison is also heavily involved in academic competitions, including UIL One Act Play, where her team placed first, and the East Texas State Fair Academic Rodeo, where she was the recipient of a $1,000 scholarship.
Getting the scholarship was just like, okay, I have at least a little bit of support, and it was a really big, huge motivator for me now, because now I'm like, okay, if I could do this, then that means I can do so many other amazing things.
Robotics teacher Lauren Gupton was eager to add this about Addison's performance as a Moore Mustang.
She has lots of passions. She's very passionate about acting. That's what she wants to do when she grows up, but she's also just passionate about learning anything she can about everything that's there. She loves to learn new things. She loves to be challenged, and she sees any challenge that she's given as something to fight through, as opposed to something that's just too difficult for her. She loves to face a challenge head on and come out on the other side better.
Let's congratulate these outstanding students as we continue to reflect successful student outcomes throughout the district. Sponsored by Christus Trinity Mother Francis Health System. And at this time, we are going to welcome Uretzi to the front to receive her Elementary Student of the Month Award.
That's my daughter.
And now it's time for Addison to come to the front and receive her Secondary Student of the Month Award. Next, we recognize Vivian Williams from Tyler Legacy High School for receiving third place in her weight class in the Texas High School Women's Powerlifting State Meet. Come on down. For this next group of amazing students, they have placed in the Technology Student Association State Contest. First up is Victor Oriza from Tyler High School, who received 2 gold medals, one for architectural design tiny house and an interior design residential. Next, we have Nick Gaffney from Tyler Legacy High School, received a gold medal for production of electronic testing device and received second in the state and is now a national qualifier in software development and coding TSA National Conference. Next up is Reese Neely from Tyler Legacy High School. She received two gold medals, one for CNC cam laser engraver 8x10 and another for 6x24. We also have Max Pineda from Tyler Legacy High School, who received two gold medals. His first was for computer-generated graphic art, and his second gold medal was for original 3D sci-fi image. And we have Cody Quinn from Tyler Legacy High School, received second in the state and is now a national qualifier in software development and coding TSA National Conference. And we have Austin Walls from Tyler Legacy High School, received a gold medal for video editing original music video. And I think after we take his individual photo, we're going to get the entire group over here. Okay, all of y'all come back over. Stand in front of the board, all together now. They'll try and peek around you. We got some short ones. Let's give them another round of applause for their great efforts. Successful student outcomes right here. The next student we're going to recognize is for qualifying in the DECA International Career Development Conference. Liberty Corbell from Tyler Legacy High School qualified for the International Conference and Promotional Campaign. Devin Gibson was unable to be with us tonight, but Liberty, come on down. Next, we're going to congratulate Aviana Suels, a sophomore at Tyler Legacy High School, for earning first place in the speaking skills category of the Health Occupations Student Association, or HOSA competition. She placed first in the spring conference, first in the state conference, and will compete in the national conference this summer. Come on down. Woo-hoo! And then last, we have Addison Wilson, a sophomore at Tyler Legacy High School, for placing 9th in Super Smash Brothers in the Texas Esports Federation competition. Addison's performance earned the Legacy Esports team a top 10 placement out of 96 high school students competing. And that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Liberty Corbell. Okay. That was an awesome, awesome group of special recognitions. While everybody's filing out, we can go ahead and get ready for our mClass update. Goal 1 and 2. There they are.
Dr. Johnita Ward and Ms. Cassandra Chapa, two chief school officers that have a cluster of schools they're responsible for, here to give you your Goal 1 and 2 CLI and mClass update.
I was just sitting back there reflecting, thinking about how many great opportunities I could have had if I would have been able to play more Smash Brothers in school. It's amazing. But yeah, we're here to provide you our end of year CLI and mClass update. We have weathered the assessment season. And it was a very different and difficult one as the tests were kind of spread out, but our teachers made sure to keep it going, and we have some great data to show you tonight. So just a reminder, and for those that are watching at home, this thrilling event, we have CLI Engage, which we measure 3 times a year. It is 1-to-1 with the teacher and students. It is scored individually on an iPad or a computer, with the exception of early writing and social and emotional learning that is done with a rubric by the teacher. So as we're looking at our growth from beginning of year to end of year, we are seeing some wonderful gains in meeting benchmark. Remember, this is not a growth measurement. It is simply which students are at benchmark at this time. We did have a true beginning of year benchmark this year. We took that assessment earlier, and we can really see how much our students have been able to get to that next level before going to kindergarten. So we see double-digit gains. We do see a dip in that social and emotional. We talked about this at middle of the year. There's just more data for the teacher to now have a rubric, and this is by far, in the past 3 years, since I've seen this data, the least decline that we've seen, which is promising. Again, as we look at the different types, we are seeing gains in Head Start that are helping them be competitive with their peers in the pre-K non-tuition and the tuition. We are also seeing a slight, again, dips in early writing in those rubrics, but again, this is the least deficit that we've seen in the past couple of years. We typically see double-digit deficits, and so seeing that 1% means that we're being more consistent. And then as we look at our demographics, we see the normal trends. We see the dip in math, but remember, it's the same test provided at each wave or each time of the year. So a student who might miss one on account, it's going to affect their benchmark score. So if they were over benchmark at middle of year and perhaps maybe missed one, that could affect their end of year benchmark. But again, very positive results. We're seeing lots of growth and making sure that we're meeting that end of year benchmark.
Good evening, board. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with mClass as we present this to you every year, beginning, middle, and the end of the year. But just want to review again for the folks at home that we give the mClass assessment to kindergarten through second grade students, and we assess them one-on-one. One thing I want to point out as we share the data, which we do have some really good data, but this is a time test. So we're really trying to help the students to work on fluency. As Ms. Chop and I were talking, if a teacher is talking slow, then of course kids emulate those, behaviors, and they may know the information, but if they can't get it out in the time that's allotted to them, then that could possibly make sure their score not what it could be. They may have the data, but if they don't get it out. So we're really trying to work on fluency with our students as we're looking to see if they're reading on benchmark and how they're performing on the different reading skills. I will like to share with you at the beginning of the year, generally we don't have the data from the nation in Texas yet, But generally, at the beginning of the year, we are below the national and state average. By the middle of the year, we're usually meeting the average, and at the end of the year, we're usually exceeding the average. So we're really excited about this. As you can see, only 29% of our kids were on benchmark in kindergarten, and now 63% are on benchmark, with a 34% change. And the same with first grade, 40, we're up to 63, and then in second grade, 45 to 60%. So we are excited about those double-digit gains. When we look at the data based on subgroups, as you can see, our African-American students, they started out in kindergarten above the benchmark, because as you can see, it was 29%. However, we do have a double-digit gains, but we want them, of course, to close those gaps, so we want that number to be closer to that 60%. But we did have double-digit gains in kindergarten, first and second. And you can see that in Hispanic students started out at the beginning of the year 15%, and now by the end of the year, there was a 50% gain with those students in kindergarten being at 65%. One thing that we are working on, mClass, the great thing about it, as soon as the teachers get the data, they can put the students in groups, and they give them additional resources to close those gaps. So as you can see, again, we have double-digit gains, but we want to make sure we're closing achievement gaps for all of our students. And while our African-American students are growing, we want to make sure that it's closer to the average, district average. And we are aware of that, and we're not going to stop until we get there. Also, we have 40% of our kids, even though we're at 63%, we want to make sure that we continue to increase that number, because of course 100% is the goal on benchmark. When you're looking at reading skills, we're excited to point out some of these numbers to you, especially in kindergarten. We know that letter names, that's very important, and you can see the growth in letter names. We are now 69% of our kindergartners were at benchmark. And again, some of those kids may know their letter names, but if they can't get it out during that time, it doesn't count. And you can see decoding, 50%. We were at 10% at the beginning of the year of kindergartners that were able to decode, and now 60%. So our teachers have really worked hard, because we know decoding and letter sounds and letter names are fundamental to reading. And look at first grade, I just want to point out phonemic awareness. You know that we guys are aware of, our teachers are going through reading academies. We're also using Reading Horizons, some of those programs, and that's really helping, because at the beginning of the year, only 36% of our first graders were at benchmark. Now 72% are at benchmark with phonemic awareness. I also want to point out again, decoding, again, very important, 43% versus 67%. And then in second grade, just wanted to point out some of our highlights: reading accuracy and reading fluency, because we know by the end of second grade, you're going from learning to read to reading to learn. And especially with third grade, as you guys are aware, the test has changed. Our third graders have about 7 to 8 passages that they have to read. And not only read, they have to respond in writing. So you have to make sure that those kids can read with accuracy and fluency. So we're really pleased with those numbers, going from 45% to 74%, and reading fluency going from 44% to 57% within the time allotted. So again, we're excited about the double-digit gains that we've made this year. We're going to continue to work. One great thing about it is the beginning, middle of the year test. So the teachers at the beginning of the year, they can get the data from the end of the year. We do take these tests at the first 3 weeks of school, so they can get the data. We know that we have a small summer slide, and they can begin working with each of those students and working through interventions and differentiating instruction, so that we can bring you some positive numbers again next year. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Just a comment. I'm very pleased with the gains, especially double-digit gains. We've been, because these are one of the things that I look at the most, I think, and really concerned about that. And I think that we are making significant improvement, and have made significant improvement. I hope we can keep the trend and keep it going in a positive direction, so that we can exceed all our goals in all aspects of it.
Really appreciate our teachers buying into this culture that the assessment's actually good, to see if kids are on track. 9 years of a culture change where we weren't doing anything in our pre-K, K, and 1 and second grade classrooms. We were just kind of going in there without a compass, and certainly not getting the data we need to be better. I know that our third grade teachers, our fourth grade teachers, our fifth grade teachers are very appreciative that our early ed teachers, our pre-K through 2 teachers, have bought into this as well. It gives us a fighting chance in third grade when they start their standardized test schedule, because it goes all the way till 11th grade. So we don't think we're over testing kids. We do it to drive instruction to make sure we know where each and every kid is at, and our student is at. I hate being called kids, at least when they get to junior high. So I really do appreciate our campuses really buying into this and using this to improve our schools.
Well, and, you know, if we're going to be judged on assessment by the state, it is a good thing to assess. The kids get used to assessment. I mean, that's, you know, if we're going to perform well, then we need to set up some familiar kind of practices there. So you said something during your presentation about usually we do not have the national or the state benchmark at the beginning of the year, but did we this year? Is that what I understood?
I was just saying, we don't have the end of the year averages right now, because
Oh,
the
okay,
state,
okay.
yeah,
I got
but
you.
we do get those, yes.
Okay. Right, gotcha.
But we're usually behind them at the beginning of the year, and at the end, we're usually exceeding.
Right.
But we will get that, right?
We will.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or?
I have a question. So at the beginning of the year for each year, at the end of the year, the kindergartens have a score and the first grade and the second grade. But when we start off at the beginning of the year, they're still low. Are these the same students starting second grade with the low average? For example, beginning of the year, kindergarten, I'm looking at African American was 34%, end of the year, 48%. And then when they got to first grade, beginning of the year was 34% again. Are those the same students that are, is it the summer slide? Are those the same
The
students?
summer slide, of course, you know, we're a pretty transient district, so kids coming and going, so it's not necessarily cohort to cohort, but it is pretty similar in the summer slide.
Okay.
Yes.
And I guess in the benchmark for first grade might be a little higher than
And
the
it is, yes,
kindergarten.
and they're expecting
so you're
more.
kinda-
Do you want to talk to that?
So, actually, in mClass, they do account for some regression. So for some of, depending on the test, like if a kindergartner leaves knowing 44, that's the benchmark for the end of year for kindergarten. When they come back in first grade, it might be slightly lower than 44 to account for some of that regression. But then the end of year benchmark for first grade is significantly higher.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
As always, we encourage those that are watching tonight to take advantage of anything that we have in the summer, whether it be Mentoring Alliance summer camp or literacy camps that we have scheduled. What are our locations this summer?
So this summer, we are offering at Mentoring Alliance summer camps at all of our locations. We offer that academic piece. And then we are providing a literacy camp for Douglas, Bonner, Clarkston, and Bell.
And who's eligible to sign up for those?
The kids.
Those campuses are extending those invitations.
I got you. Okay.
Yes.
But then we have.
And then we have our OR site is our Jones, Austin, Pete, Ramey, Griffin, and Dixie.
J-Pro DG? Okay.
I will say this, even though it's not mClass, because I have a third grader and a seventh grader, just a parent report. On the state assessments, my kids came home saying that they thought that was not as rigorous or difficult as the assessments we were given in the district. I don't know if it'll show it, but it seems to me like we're, challenging them in preparation for, so the state test won't be as challenging.
Yeah, and Dr. Curitan and his team have been working on some parallel in which we're looking at the alignment between our assessments and this new redesign. And then back to what parents can do, this mClass assessment is kind of under the understanding that students are coming into school with at least like 2,500 words. So to be able to do the sight word, reading fluency, like those basic words are really going to support them as they come to school and during the summer to prevent that slide.
Very good. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any public participants? No? Okay. I'll go ahead and entertain then a motion to approve the minutes from the last board workshop and regular meeting.
Move that we approve.
Second.
Dr. Nation, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, now we have two action items to take individually. One is consideration and possible action concerning an order canvassing the returns and declaring the results of a May 6, 2023 school trustee election.
Page 17 of your packet, trustees, you have canvass of election returns for the general election, which occurred on May 6th. Single-member District 2 was filled following certification of unopposed candidate on March 1st, 2023. Congratulations, Mr. Newsom, for single-member District 2. Tabulation of the May 6th election resulted in Cody Leverett winning the election for single-member District 4. Tabulation results are presented at your place at the dais. There's a look at it at the screen. And you see the administrative recommendation to approve the canvassing of votes and certify results from the May 6, 2023 general trustee election as presented.
Okay.
I move that we approve them.
Thank you, Dr. Nation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I would like to make a comment, though. The percentage of voters is atrocious. And I would like for the public to realize that it's how important your individual vote is. So this is just an example. When we come to the big election in next year, please get out and vote. Voice your opinion.
Thank you, and I think we passed. The motion carried. Ayes had it, and the motion carried. But it's been just such a joy serving with you, Trish. It really has. I've always admired your, even though when things got tough, and they did from time to time, and you know, we were always able to put things aside and move along and move forward. And I really did appreciate that about you. You always did it with such grace and dignity. So look forward to you being able to enjoy maybe a little more free time, and I'm sure.
Thank you. It's been an honor to serve for these 9 years and to work with y'all. Everybody has what's good for the students at heart, and there's no disputing that at all. And I appreciate the Christian background and the calling upon God to help us to make the right decisions. And it's, like I said, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Dr. Nation, you'll be certainly inducted into the Trustee Emeritus Hall of Fame here in Tyler ISD for your 9 years of service, just like a long list of others that have served here, even before the arrival of the current superintendent. I do take phone calls from the likes of Ron Vickery and Eleno Lasea, as I do Barbara Smith, Fritz Hager, and Reverend Orinthia Mason, et cetera. And even Marty Dunbar, who was only here for that amount of time. So, kudos on your service. We appreciate everything that you did. It's been a lot of work in the 9 years that you've been here, not just on desegregation orders and another sundry of items, but a lot of academic improvement. We've got a long way to go, certainly, but you have been a foster of this, shepherd of this continuous improvement culture that we've developed here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is to consider, keyword here, provisional approval of a teacher compensation structure for 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, Dr. Gropel, will you shove that microphone next to Ms. Bjork? Thank you. Gladly, right? We've been working on this for about 2 months now, actually longer than that, but really formalizing this to put in front of y'all. As part of the budgetary process here as we get up into the summer. Coincidentally, it's a legislative year. So here we are talking about a new biennium of budget. And they have yet to be, somebody's getting it right now. There you go. That was weird. Making sure that we get this in front of y'all to consider the salary schedule. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Turn that off. To put in front of y'all a salary schedule so we can consider the development of our budget. At the same time, we're also looking to stock our school system with talent. That's a big, certainly a big push of ours, a big goal of ours, to make sure that we keep the best and that we attract the best as well. We think the actual provisional salary structure that we've put in front of you puts us in position to win. And we would like y'all to consider that and certainly take a look at it, ask us some questions in regard to that consideration and possible action.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Crawford. Does anybody from the board want to comment or have any questions regarding this item in particular?
Let me just say, I think teacher pay is the most important thing to attract new talent into the teaching field. We've been lapped by other occupations for a good many years now. And this is a step in the right direction for sure, with some pretty large increases, especially in the later years. So I applaud the administration for taking this step, and I think it is a priority of this board for us to get the best people we can in front of our kids every day. Thank you.
And not only to get the best, but keep the best.
Yeah,
So.
that's what I was going to say. We've had some good teachers that I felt like has been very successful in the classroom, but unfortunately some of them have left, and we want to retain those individuals as much as possible. And with the salary change, hopefully this will help to be an incentive. Although I think that sometimes they don't look at the entire benefit package that we offer compared to some of the other districts. And I think if they did that, it wouldn't be as, it wouldn't seem to appear greener on the other side. So I think that we are definitely trying to be competitive, and I think we will continue to do that to retain our good teachers.
Yeah, there's a story behind every exit of a teacher. No doubt about that. Sometimes it's salary, sometimes it's what Mr. Jones likes to say, teachers don't leave kids, they don't leave campuses, but they sometimes leave principals. And so certainly we're doing really good as far as developing that goes. Chasing $500 a year when it amortizes to about $50 extra a month is not enticing to most people. So the culture of your campus is extremely important, as important sometimes as compensation, but we do need to be attractive enough to really do the job, to get the talent to stay here and certainly come here. Let's go ahead and throw something up on the screen so that the public can take a look at it and y'all can take a look at it and maybe discuss a little bit more, and maybe Ms. Bjork can actually answer some questions of y'all.
I will say that approximately 58% of our teachers are less than 10 years. So raising that 10-year mark hopefully will retain teachers past that 10-year.
Yeah, I was just going to say that seems like that was, excuse me, that was always a challenge, was getting that, you know, we did a good job of training them, and then they seemed like they were jumping ship after 10 years or whatever. But I appreciate the work on that, certainly. We want to keep who we can. Can you just maybe comment on, you know, we started that teacher incentive allotment with, you know, some certain campuses, and can you just comment on how that's going and what the plan is for that?
Sure. Dr. Gropel's been working a lot on that. So is Mr. Jones, Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones. But certainly TIA, the Teacher Incentive Allotment, what we call locally the Tyler Optimal Performance Program, we have submitted our plan already that does actually include every teacher in pre-K through 8 to actually be included in that district-wide. We've got some things we're not ready to commit to in regards to J-Pro that we'll be bringing to y'all later this summer because they were the only TIA campuses. We have not seen that being an attraction to get more teachers to come work at J-Pro. Jones, Austin, Pete, Ramey, and Orr, for those of y'all that are out there that hadn't heard that yet. So opening that up district-wide is certainly going to be an opportunity, depending upon your economically disadvantagedness at the campus that you work at, that you could make upwards of, if you're working at Dixie Elementary, probably anywhere from $25,000 to $28,000 if you're the top tier teacher. I'm not sure if they're one of the 28,000 qualifiers or not. Austin's a good example of that. So that's actually going to be taken pre-K through 8. Dr. Gropel, you want to talk a little bit about what's in that gumbo? Maybe is Dr. Cureton here tonight?
Dr. Cureton is here. I'd probably defer to him on that.
Okay.
We have also, with that, you're looking at teacher attendance, panorama data, student growth data from beginning to end of year, similar to the data you've had presented to you this evening, as well as STAR performance in those STAR tested grades.
Yeah, so even if you're at Owens or if you're at Jack.
Their evaluation is also included.
Your evaluation is also included. So if you're at Owens or Jack or Douglas or Dixie, pre-K through 8, you have an opportunity at that additional incentive. The great thing is it doesn't come out of your budget. It comes out of the state's budget. So TEA's got this pot of money. So that's not yeah, exactly. Where's it coming from? So it's coming out of TEA, that pot of money. So TIA is a high school. We have submitted, okay, because there's some great things that are going on in high school as far as that goes. But understand they only take one test right now, and it's only a tested subject. So it's Algebra 1, English 1, English 2, Biology, American history, U.S. history, and did I miss one? Did I get all 5? Okay. So right now, that would be the only ones that qualify. We're working, Mr. Jones is working along with other expert staff, getting them some more frequent opportunities at growth data, much like you have in pre-K through 8. Right now, we have no growth data in our high schools, and we've been doing okay because we've always had CCMR. So we're about to be a district-wide TIA district at all of our campuses so that all of our teachers, at least the ones that are in core tested subjects, can be, which are the ones we're having a hard time finding, can actually accomplish that. What does that look like for elective teachers? We're going to start developing some models for that as well. The state's got to approve that. Texas Tech has to calibrate that with our appraisals, and then also just whether or not that it's statistically reliable enough to be eligible for that money and actually obtain that money. So that's actually something else that's coming, Mr. Martinez, that we didn't put up here on the screen. Long answer to your short question.
So it sounds like if you take the base, which is what we have here, the new base salary, and then certain stipends or teacher incentive allotments, I mean, some teachers could really start knocking on that kind of 106-figure door if all things aligned right.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah, bilingual stipends need to be increased. Those are becoming more and more difficult to find. Your core content areas in the secondary, so that's 6 through 12.
Yes, sir.
We're having to go up on those. So RLA and math is something that we're
special education
education as well. So we're not ready to present those to you right now because of, again, the budgets that's coming out of Austin right now. You know, the House side of things kind of looks more appealing to us, right, Tasha? For all school systems, as opposed to the Senate side of things. The Senate side of things was a one-time $6,000 stipend. That doesn't really make this work. That's why we're asking for the provisional consideration and action as well. But yeah, if you look at years 10 through 29, that's a pretty good bump from where we used to be. Dr. Gropel has this on the tip of his tongue about percentage. Some folks could see how much of a bump?
All the way up to 15% increase in salary.
Yeah.
Majority of those from 10 to 30 years are going to be 10 to 12% increase.
And then if you look at the 4 years, which they're blocked in every 4 years or 5, right? 4 or 5? Every 5 years. If you're looking at what the district usually calls and fines for a teacher, that's even more than what we would normally provide, like a 2%, right?
Yes, sir. They're going to see more of a raise over that 5-year period in that same pay range than they would if following our traditional steps that we've been giving.
Yeah.
And another piece to add to that is that pay model aligns with what's being proposed to the changes to the state salary schedule go to the 5-year bands as opposed to the year-by-year step.
Yeah, that's a little different than a year-by-year step that y'all are used to. Ms. Atkins, Dr. Nation, y'all have been used to that. I've been used to that. So that would be something to be a little bit different is this, in these blocks, this is what you're going to make during this block of years. And then we've got stipend work that we're actually going to be considering as well.
And one thing worth just discussing, is traditionally we've been pretty conservative with our budget, and we've always been able to put back, what we need to if certain special projects might be coming up or just, fund balance type of saving. And just want to make sure so the public knows that we're still going to be good on the back end for any needs we might have, even with teacher raises and everything like that.
Yeah, the stewardship of our funds is a priority. It's been that way since Tasha's been our CFO, and as long as she'll be CFO, and then further, as long as our board operates very conservative, fiscally speaking. In saying that, we do need to flip our strategy a little bit. Instead of just being such a bubble on the back end, we need to commit this up front. We'll still manage our budget extremely well, and we still will have money for fund balance. Yes, sir, absolutely.
Well, we got to compete, and we've been about that ever since you were interviewed 10 years ago.
Yeah.
9 years ago.
9 years.
We talked about competing and competition, and this is one way to really kind of put our money where our mouth is. So
yeah, the strategy on this has always been pay the right amount of people well, not a bunch of people poorly. Quality teacher, a tier 1 instruction is the most important thing to have. A quality teacher in front of our kids in every classroom is what's going to make our school system a consistently A-rated school system. Not a bunch of people that aren't motivated, because it's hard to pay that many people well. We're very fixed on what we're able to do.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for Dr. Crawford? Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion on this item, the provisional approval of teacher compensation structure.
Motion to provisionally approve teacher compensation structure.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it and the motion carries. Looking forward to see what comes out of Austin. Okay. We do have our business, legal, finance, and consent agenda. Didn't know if there's anything we're going to pull to discuss or anything anybody wants to discuss before I entertain a motion on items A through J.
Mr. Washburn, I think I wanted to visit about J just a little bit.
Want to go ahead and improve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion we approve all items except J.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Now on to J, which is approval of extending master planning services.
Yeah, Mr. Loper, why don't you come on up here and provide your subject matter expertise to the board. As you're walking up here, I'll kind of preview that. Y'all know we're in the throes of completing the Hubbard and Early College High School projects. We've had a partnership since for a long time, early 2000s, I believe, with Corrigan Architects. We haven't had a master facilities assessment since 2011.
Correct.
In regard to administration facilities.
Correct.
So, Mr. Loper?
Yes. Dr. Crawford won't let me finish. So he's giving me some more job security. That's what we like to refer to it, but I certainly welcome that. We've had a lot of movement over the 2011. We've addressed almost all the campuses, but we have campuses out there still that need to be addressed. And in your agenda, in the administrative consideration, I kind of explained that, but it is, getting adjacencies, creating efficiencies, looking at our facility condition of the index, what needs to happen to these older buildings. Some of them really old, some of them not as old as the others, meaning like the administration building that we're in now, from Hogg to Gary, we're moving early college to the new campus, which creates a lot of space at A.T. Stewart. And we want to have a good plan on what to do with all these spaces that we have and what it's going to take to actually bring them up to code and to make them conducive to the administrative services that we conduct in these facilities.
Just to list those facilities, for those that are at home, Gary, Plyler, Hogg, 1319 Earl Campbell Parkway, Transportation, Food Service, St. Louis Operations Center, and A.T. Stewart building.
And you said Plyler?
Dr. Crawford?
Yes, sir, Plyler is on the list, yes, sir.
The DAEP campus, what are we going to be doing? Is that included in this? Plyler?
No,
We only included, I'm sorry, go ahead. We only include our administrative services buildings.
He's talking about Old Pete.
Yeah.
Old Pete.
Original Pete is where DAEP is located.
Right.
Yeah, that is not included for the administrative operations.
Okay.
On here. They've got some needs, and we can do some refresh over there that we're aware of where students are located right now. So I'm not looking to move that to a different location. I think it's a pretty good location. It's a good facility. Whether or not we put some paint in there or refresh it with some tile work and ceiling tile work.
We're actually doing some of that this summer.
Yeah, so we've got some of that going on already. So, you have an idea about a different location of that, Mr. Newsom?
No, I just wanted to see it improve.
Oh, okay. Sure.
President Washman, I just appreciate that. And I think it's good that we look every 10 or 15 years at our facilities and do exactly this. Sometimes we end up having excess properties that are inefficient, and I think it's a good thing to do every decade or so. And now that we've gotten the educational side almost finished, let's take a look at this and see if there's any efficiencies or any better places any of these services could be, because we kind of end up just migrating into a vacant space sometimes. And this will be a good study to see if that's really where we need to be.
It does drive me nuts that we don't have a centralized place, and I'm not saying that's what the end goal of this is going to be. I don't think we have one facility where that could happen, but we have a bunch of them, and a couple of them are a little long in the tooth. And what would it take to maybe spruce those up a little bit? We need to get the exact numbers on that, or ballpark numbers, estimated numbers. We can't get exact numbers till you go to a bid or something.
Yeah.
But we need to get some ballparking done about what those logistics could do. We have ideas, but that third party could probably give us a little bit better indication if they really go and study it better than us saying, hey, let's move over here. Like
This will be an in-depth survey with our staff, with all of the staff at every campus, or I'll say our directors of those facilities. So, it will shake out all of the spaces that we need and kind of make it identifiable a little better. Since we have changed since 2011, we have rotated and moved people around, so it's time to take a look at it.
Yeah, I think efficiencies, just the right word. If there's a way to minimize your footprint and maintain the same, staff, then why not look into that? And yeah, some of these old buildings and some buildings that are near and dear to us, like Hogg, that we'll need to figure out something to do with. What could they be used for, and could you use them for admin, but I love it. I love taking a look and figuring out ways we can lean up and be efficient. So, anybody else have any comments or questions on this one?
I move we approve item J.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Loper. Okay. Unless anybody wants to pull anything from the curriculum and instruction consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion on items A through L.
I move we approve items A through L.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Now we have a superintendent and staff report on federal grant applications.
Yeah, this is just information only on page 57 of your packet. This is CB, this is local policy. TASB snuck one by the goalie on us as we reviewed our policies. And we are to provide, which is a good practice, we are to provide at a regular call meeting notification of which grants we're actually applying for, especially with the federal, as far as federal dollars go. This really came about because of all the ESSER funding, is why TASB recommended this to actually be in front of y'all. So if you've got any questions about when the grant period is and what the grants are, you've got Tasha Bjork and Casey Russell as your point of contacts. Feel free to go ahead and contact them in regard to these grant applications.
Sounds good. Any comments or questions there? Okay, well, we got some future business. It is graduation season. So we've got quite a few coming up, don't we? Rise, Early College, Legacy, Tyler High. Then we got a workshop and a regular meeting. So we're going to be seeing a lot of each other. And anyway, having gone over that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed, the ayes have it. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.
Be ready for some weather excitement.
Yeah.